Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We're reaching you live from Abuja. I am Ronke Kolawole. Our State High Court in Adamawa State has vacated the earlier ex-parte order restraining INEC from conducting the state governorship supplementary election scheduled to have held on the 23rd of this month. Abubakar Haman takes it from here.
State High Court presided over by Justice Abdul Aziz Waziri also dismissed the earlier application for injunction by MRDD and gave INEC the go-ahead to conduct the supplementary election. However, the matter has not been put to rest as arguments on substantive matter before the court will commence on Wednesday, the 27th of this month, as explained by the counsel to PDP and its governorship candidate Joy Kiari Gazama and counsel to MRDD Ibrahim Mustafa.
The court said it has jurisdiction to look into the substantive matter, but at the same time set aside the ex-parte order, dismiss the application, and now INEC has been allowed to go ahead. We are still going to be vigilant and alert. It is not over until it is over.
There is no point in granting a settled hearing and at the same time granting an order to restrain. If we are coming here tomorrow, and as you hear, my lord, that judgment may be delivered for Friday, what is the essence of an order anymore? So to clear the coast for every party to argue freely, the lordship said, come tomorrow, argue the entire case, and I'll give you my judgment before Friday. The
resident electoral commissioner Adamawa State Kasim Ganagaidam explained the position of INEC on the striking out of the ex-parte order by the court.
The commission at the highest level, in consultation with the security agencies, I decided that the supplementary election should hold on Thursday, 28th of March, 2019.
Kasim Ganagaidam said no party monitoring team will be allowed to have access to polling units where the supplementary elections will be conducted. In Yola, Abubakar Haman.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the PDP candidate Bala Mohammed as the winner of the Bauchi state governorship election. State Returning Officer Professor Mohammed Kiari, who announced the final results, said the PDP candidate fulfilled all the requirements of the law. Abbas Mekano has the details.
But Bala Abdul Qadir Mohammed of the PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Shortly after the court verdict that paved way for the resumption of collation and announcement of Tafawa Balewa result and the declaration of winner, the governor-elect, Senator Bala Mohammed, was given a rousing welcome by his supporters who received him in the airport. In his acceptance speech, the governor-elect gave gratitude to Allah and appreciated the support of the electorate in the state for having confidence on his ability to move the state forward.
I accept this responsibility with humility, and I truly understand its meaning, namely that you expect me to be a servant of the people.
He assured the people of the state of his readiness to lead the charge for the restoration of hope to Bauchi state citizens, a better prospect and greater opportunity for prosperous life. In Bauchi, Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
Determined to have a strong focus on adult-treated and patriotic leadership of the 9th Senate, President Muhammadu Buhari has convened a strategic meeting with the returning and newly elected senators, governors, as well as members of the National Working Committee of the APC on the best way forward. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president harped on the need for unity, high sense of responsibility and selflessness in service towards genuinely taking Nigeria to the next level.
Despite having the majority in the 8th Senate, the governing All Progressives Congress found itself sharing the all-important presiding leadership positions with the opposition People's Democratic Party. APC senators were also said to have been denied the privilege of controlling sensitive committees. As a result, legislations critical to the implementation of the change agenda were believed to have either been denied or frustrated. This interactive meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari, APC leadership, and the senators-elect is aimed at ensuring that the mistakes of the past are not in any way repeated in the 9th Senate.
By this system, which I saw by the Holy Quran to follow, this is my 5th and last time of standing the election. For that reason, I would like to leave something behind. And what I want to leave behind cannot be successfully done without your support. That's why I'm appealing for your support. What happened in the last Senate and so on is regrettable, because I still feel that it shouldn't take 7 months to pass a budget. You have got a very, very serious job ahead of you. So what I'm feeling is any major decision you are going to take, please reflect more on the country than yourselves as a party. What impact will it have on the country?
APC National Chairman Adam Soshomole expressed the belief that with a majority of 65 senators, the APC has what it takes to produce unadulterated Senate leadership and ensure patriotic legislations that will support President Muhammadu Buhari's radical decisions and reforms for the good of the nation and posterity.
We do not need to do business with opposition in order to claim what is rightly ours. When Nigerians, in their full freedom, have chosen to bless us with such huge majority in the National Assembly, and re-elect Your Excellency with such huge margin, their intention is clear: to have a strong federal government with strong legislative backing in the two arms of the National Assembly, to carry out the reforms and the changes that Mr. President is irrevocably committed to, that reflect the core values of Progressive Party and the core values of change.
The first and only YPP senator-elect from Anambra State, Ifeanyi Uba, attended the meeting, which continued behind closed doors, during which questions, observations, and suggestions were taken on the best way forward.
We assured the president cooperation. We're going to give him the whole cooperation, and we're going to work hand in hand as one family in harmony with the executive arm of government to ensure that we boost the Nigerian economy, tackle security, and agenda on corruption. What belongs to majority goes to majority, and what belongs to minority goes to minority.
What the president has done today, I think, is the right step in the right direction. We are governors. We are also responsible for our senators, and we dialogue with our senators. And all of us were very happy that he led the way forward as Mr. President. And because of that, all of us are now going to work towards achieving the desire of Mr. President for the good of this country.
A similar meeting is expected to be held with the returning and newly elected APC members of the House of Representatives. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, it was noted that the rule of law and national interest should serve as the guiding principle in the election of leaders in the National Assembly. This formed part of the submission by guests on the program, as reported by Alika Okpanachi Arwa.
members to ensure selection is based on the credibility of the person elected and not on personal interest.
If we elect the people that have, some issues to resolve, we don't need to, consider it twice before we put them aside and select those people that have clean sheet.
The load of this Nigeria is on our head, either the academia, either the political, either the economy, even the fourth realm of the estate, which is the press. They have a role to play as well to make sure that the issue of National Assembly leadership in relation to other leadership in Nigeria is done with trust of everyone in Nigeria.
They also advise against unhealthy interference.
The party must realize that these are not primary school students. We're talking of senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We're talking of members of the House of Representatives, who each of one of them can be anything in this country. Look at their backgrounds. Former this, former that. Retired civil servant and that, this and that. So there are not some babies that you must micromanage.
Other issues such as equal gender representation, robust campaign and healthy competition among candidates canvassing for positions should also be put into consideration. In Abuja, Alika Okpanachi, Arua, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari's pursuit of autonomy for the legislature and the judiciary is a positive development in the political history of Nigeria and quite laudable. The Buhari Media Organization, BMO, in a statement by its chairman, Niyi Akishiju, made this comment in its reaction to the inauguration of a Presidential Committee on Autonomy of States, Legislature and Judiciary in line with the fourth alteration to the 1999 Constitutional Amendment. The group says it considers this as a positive development in the political history of the country because for the first time, a proactive and decisive move is being made to make the second tier of government work for the people at the grassroots. The group also noted that it is gratifying that the federal government under President Buhari is strengthening the country's democracy by guaranteeing separation of powers among the three arms of government, even at the state level. In part Africa, a non-governmental organization says the Nigerian army acted within the rules of engagement in its operations during the 2019 general elections in Nigeria. This was the resolution of a roundtable on the impact of the professional role it played by the Nigerian army in the elections so far conducted and concluded. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The Presidential and National Assembly elections held on 23rd of February 2019, the Governorship and State Assembly polls held on the 9th of March, while supplementary elections were conducted on the 23rd of March in some states like Benue, Bauchi, Sokoto, Plateau and Kano. In line with the mandate to provide security before, during and after the elections, the Nigerian army deployed personnel to some states of the Federation as standby force in case of would-be crises. In all, in part Africa reiterated to the African and international community that the Nigerian army conducted her affairs in the most professional manner during the elections.
The presence of the men and officers of the army as well prevented violence, kidnapping, assaults and killings across the country.
On some spurious allegations from some quarters to discredit the professionalism and ethical standards deployed by the Nigerian army, in part Africa called on Nigerians to support the Nigerian military in the discharge of its constitutional duties. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And still talking security, evolving legal considerations have warranted the Nigerian Air Force to keep abreast of the emerging trends in local and international law which govern air combat operations. Najatu Tijani report from the 2019 NAF Law of Armed Conflict Retreat.
transparency or accountability in armed conflict, especially in the northeast, where Boko Haram insurgents have caused the death and displacement of thousands of civilians, as well as allegations regarding air combat operations in that region, where, for instance, an IDP camp in Ran was erroneously struck during an air raid. And more recently, like the chief of the air staff recounted, allegations against the Nigerian Air Force concerning farmlands as air targets have all made it expedient for the Nigerian Air Force to continuously review human rights issues regarding the law of armed conflict.
Accordingly, we have ensured that our field/operational commanders keep records of actions taken, and we ensure timely intervention to prevent unnecessary loss of lives and destruction of properties. Also, we work with the civil authorities and other security agencies in order to build public confidence and quicken the restoration of normalcy in conflict situations.
Legal minds, including the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the Nigerian Air Force Directorate of Legal Services, couldn't agree more. At the 2019 Nigerian Air Force Law of Armed Conflict Retreat for Legal Officers,
it drives home the point that it is only through cross-agency collaboration that our collective objective of protecting and defending the populace within the ambit of the law could be achieved.
This implies appreciation for the Nigerian armed forces, recognizing the need to adhere to global best practices in keeping the peace. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on the NTA. We'll now take a pause from this end and join Michael in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Michael.
Thank you, Ronke, and welcome to Lagos. Economic experts at the 2019 lecture in Lagos say Nigeria stands to benefit a lot in signing the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. They were also of the view that the ongoing consultation by the federal government on the issue is necessary to set it right. Paul Omkago is standing by for more.
Inside this all are financial and investment gurus who are brainstorming on the issue of the Continental Free Trade Agreement, a document that Nigeria is yet to append a signature on. Let's hear from some of the experts.
The Nigerian government acted wisely in broadening the consultations with all interested parties. It is this kind of consultation that will strengthen the government's hand to negotiate tariff and other concessions when it eventually makes the decision to join. If the decision is that Nigeria should join the FCFTA, consultations should be rapidly concluded so that the country joins the trading bloc at inception.
I believe that the participants will have an informed idea, an informed position of the African Trade Agreement and Continental Trade Agreement and how it impacts on the economy, why we should leverage on it.
If the government signs, we are going to have a large market for our goods and services, but government is doing the correct thing by consulting before signing, because we don't want to use Nigeria as a dumping ground.
We are a dominant player in Africa. Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa. Therefore, we will be the #1 beneficiaries of this agreement.
Discussants at the 2019 Bullion lecture say they expect Nigeria to eventually sign the agreement due to the huge benefits that it will bring to the economy. Over to you in the studio.
Thank you, Paul. The National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, is rising up to the challenge of promoting economic growth through Nigeria's inland waters. Managing Director of the agency, Senator Olorunnibe Mamura, is confident that the NIWA amendments are still pending before the National Assembly, when passed, will boost revenue earning and create jobs. Dotun Ogunyemi has details.
This collapsed jetty at the Marina Yard of the National Inland Waterways Authority is a result of neglect a reflection of what obtains across the country. Reviving the inland water transport sector, which holds immense economic benefits, is the focus of this meeting initiated by the Association of Marine Engineers and Surveyors. Their concerns border on safety of personnel and vessels, insufficient number of competent marine engineers, need to improve the operational condition of jetties, and safety of navigation.
We may not be able to fix these jetties on our own, and that's why we are going the PPP option. We want investors to come in, and where they need to construct new ones, let them go ahead and do that, and then we have an arrangement in terms of how and we are looking at that, and we have encouraged. But I think one of the things we decided that we will probably just put on this, we advertise them.
The association is hoping that the corporation will improve the technical ability of NIWA.
The lack of real professional input in the implementation and execution of maritime policies and initiatives is a major contributor to the decline of the industry, and we believe in your ability to reverse this trend.
Stakeholders have advocated improved funding for the agency, as it is capable of resolving the gridlock persistently experienced on roads in moving containers across the country. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has again reiterated the commitment to peace and security in the country. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, stated this in a message to the West Africa social activities of the Nigerian Army Finance Corps in Lagos. Lynn Leneke has details.
Barracks Apapa played host to this year's Wasa by the Finance Corps. An age-long tradition of the Army, Wasa provides the opportunity for officers, soldiers and families to socialize in a relaxed atmosphere while showcasing the rich and diverse cultures of the country. The representative of the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Mohammed, noted that the Army will continue to comply with policies of the federal government to ensure transparency and accountability in the service.
In this vein, I established the Directorate of Audit and Financial Management amongst other units. The Directorate is to reinvigorate the Nigerian Army internal financial control, aimed at improving synergy between available resources and operational impact.
The host, Chief of Army Accounts and Budget, Major General Adebola Bakari, urged officers and soldiers to remain resilient to consolidate on the achievements so far recorded by the service.
We ensure that whatever funding is released from the government is well accounted for.
Diverse cultural dances, tug of war, and presentations of gifts to the widows of the fallen heroes were high points of the event. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
We'll take a break at this point, after which the news continues with Ronke in Abuja.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
The dynamics of modern media management require top-of-the-mind administrators. Accordingly, NTA TV College JOS invites administrative officers on grade levels 8 to 12 in private and public media organizations to a 2-week intensive capacity building course on fundamentals of media administration. Date 1st to 12th April 2019. Course fee 80,000 naira per participant, accommodation inclusive. Venue NTA TV College premises, Rayfield, JOS. Take advantage of the course to empower your administrative officers with modern skills for maximum performance. For further inquiries, contact 0803 314 4383 or 0806 980 9807. NTA TV College Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
The 2019 elections and lessons learned. That's the thrust this week on NTA Tuesday Live. Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Incisive and educative. Don't miss it.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Glad to know you're still watching nationwide on the NTA network. The federal government is to collaborate more effectively with the Chartered Institute of Taxation towards achieving greater momentum in diversifying and expanding its revenue base. President Buhari, who said this while receiving in audience the National Executive Council of the Institute, said this will go a long way towards meeting Nigeria's infrastructure, social services and security needs. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Chartered Institute of Taxation, led by its president, Cyril Ikemefuna Ede, was in the State House to felicitate with President Muhammadu Buhari for his re-election, describing it as a clear sign of the belief, trust and confidence that Nigerians have in his leadership.
I want to commend you for leading by example, by your nationalistic zeal, zero tolerance for corruption, and a sense of pride in the Nigerian project. We believe that Nigeria shall achieve greatness with the right foundation that your administration is laying. CITN, with over 22,000 members, is ready to partner with your administration for a better Nigeria.
The Institute holds a strong view that no nation can achieve development if it neglects taxation and is therefore willing to offer professional insights on ways to aggressively mobilize revenue within the ambits of the law for effective service delivery. Consequently, an updated charter of tax demands by the Institute was presented to the President, recommending, amongst others, the review of obsolete tax laws towards addressing ambiguities so that the nation's tax system would be more efficient and the economy better strengthened.
We observe with utmost disappointment the removal of the requirement to present tax clearance certificate as a precondition for eligibility for elective positions. The Constitution is clear on the need for all citizens to declare their income honestly and pay their taxes correctly. In this regard, political office holders should and must lead by example to change the non-compliance tax culture in Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the leadership of the Chartered Institute of Taxation for availing the government its professional thoughts towards enhancing the nation's economic fortunes.
Be assured that this government will continue to focus on building a safe and secure Nigeria that is inclusive, diversified, and corruption-free. We have made some progress in the first 4 years. However, a lot more can still be done to meet our infrastructure, social services, and security needs. We have a large, hardworking, and entrepreneurial population, and through fair and effective taxation, we can fill this revenue shortfall.
Already, the President said the national tax policy document has been reviewed towards institutionalizing the tax payment culture in the country. This, he said, is imperative as overdependence on oil as main source of income for Nigeria is no longer sustainable. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And to other trending issues now, the increasing threat of human trafficking and migrant smuggling to national security is leading to more international collaboration in tackling the challenge. Acting Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu at an Interpol workshop to counter trafficking calls for more coordinated strategies from the local and global angles to achieve better results in tackling the ugly trend. Francis Form reports.
And indeed, Africa has been experiencing a surge in transborder trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants. These illegal activities do not only pose a threat to the victims, but also constitute security threat to countries involved at both ends. The Nigeria Police is working in collaboration with the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, and the Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, to confront these ugly trends.
This forum will provide participants with a platform to create good working relationship that will allow for robust professional synergy and exchange of information, which will ultimately strengthen coordination among all security agencies and other strategic partners in the fight against this scourge in this country.
Fighting human trafficking and migrant smuggling has been a challenging task because the victims were either unsuspecting tools or were subjected to some forms of intimidation and threats of violence.
Acting Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu says, under his watch, there will be no hidden place for those who choose to tread on humans and exploit the innocent and gullible for modern-day slavery. In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
Our next story is cheering, and it says that about 50 refugees from Central Africa have been empowered by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons as part of the Commission's efforts to address the concerns of migrants. Howal Salisu reports that they were trained in various skills to prepare and make them economically independent.
The beneficiaries were trained in soap making and oil production at the internally displaced persons camp in Kano. They have been in this camp for more than 5 years. Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrant and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadia Umar Farouk, represented by Head Kano Field Office Luba Liman, said the gesture is to enable them integrate into the mainstream of the society and contribute their quota to the economic growth.
After about 2 days of training, the third day, an individual among them used our money to go and buy these materials and make a sample of the product they were taught. That is very impressive.
The trainees' life will never be the same again after the program, as they pledge to make good use of the opportunity given to them. They were provided with capital to start off their businesses. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
Sokoto is next on Nationwide. Abdurrahman is our guide. Hello, Abdurrahman, it's over to you.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Sokoto. Rice farmers in Suru local government area of Kebbi State have expressed optimism of cultivating enough rice that can feed the state and beyond. Usman Abdullahi Shehu has the situation report.
15 out of 21 local government areas in Kebbi State are along the fertile Fadama land of River Rima, Sokoto and River Niger. Others are along many other rivers that traverse the state. Those that are along the river banks produce rice in both dry and rainy season, while those that are upland like Zuru, Sakaba, Dankosagu, Fakei, Gwandu and Aleru produce only during the rainy season. A visit to Suru market proves to anybody that large quantity of rice is produced in Kebbi State. Representatives of various rice mills buy rice from Suru every day and on market days, which according to them is produced by farmers in Suru town and surrounding villages.
Mostly is produced here. You know, we have villages that are attached to Suru community here. We are, let me say, farming is mainly our business.
We are the true skeptic can come to Suru.
Charge to emulate the
election process.
A carton of noodles, jerrycans of red oil and vegetable oil, Also distributed were roofing sheets and some building materials.
This is to enable them bounce back to life, and Mr. Governor directed that medical personnel should be sent there immediately to attend to the people.
Officials of the affected local government collected the items on behalf of the victims.
We are very grateful to the governor for his magnanimity in helping the people.
We have a listening governor. He has not left any stone unturned.
It will go a long way to relieve them of the stress, difficulty.
The state government is assuring victims yet to be attended to of prompt attention. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
Edo State government has commenced the release of inmates following recommendations of the Presidential Committee on Prisons Reform and Decongestion during its visit to prisons in the state. So far, 31 out of 84 of them have regained their freedom after payment of their fines by the state government. Again, Goodluck Enaini reports.
One area of interest during the visits of the Presidential Committee on Prisons Reform and Decongestion was the immediate release of inmates with minor cases. It is on this basis that Governor Baseki made available the sum of 9 million naira to pay the fines for inmates who have been in custody for years.
They came with some money from the Federal Attorney General and from a donor, but the bulk of the money was paid by His Excellency Governor Baseki. So a total of 9 million naira. And some have been here for years simply because they didn't have money. The fines, ranged from like 20, in fact, there was a 5,000 naira fine. And the person was here because he couldn't pay. There were 30, 40. There were some fines. The highest I think we paid at all was 300,000.
Controller of Nigeria Prison Service, Edo State, Mr. Joseph Usendia, applauded the gesture of the federal and the state government.
It has gone a long way to decongest the prison.
One of the inmates who regained his freedom speaks on the state government's magnanimity.
I want to thank the state government as the chair for us that we are here today.
The freed inmates were given transportation fare to their various locations to be reunited with their families. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
And in Delta State, the Chief Judge, Justice Marshall Mukoro, has set 53 inmates of the Kwale prison free. It was during the first phase of the 2019 prison visit. Rosemary Omani reports.
Thank you for asking me again, Father. Thank you for taking me back to the society. I was reminded there to 16 with the offense that I do not commit.
That was how the inmates expressed their joy, having been set free. The CJ said only those who deserve freedom will be granted.
We are here to reiterate government desire to ensure that persons awaiting trial do not spend their whole life here. We want to ensure that those who are here because having allegedly committed an offense known to law.
The Deputy Controller of Prisons in charge of Kwale Prison, Ogude Charles Nkem, while appreciating the CJ for his visit, tabled their request, which the CJ acknowledged.
Operational vehicles constitute a major threat to the timely reproduction of inmates in the 31 courts covered by this prison.
333 case files were reviewed. The jail delivery continues with Abo Prison. From Kwale, I am Rosemary Omani, NTA News.
Nationwide continues with Ronke in Abuja after this break. We just go ahead and take that break. We'll be back with sports update and weather.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad. or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the role of the media in election coverage. Exclusive on the National Broadcasting Commission, its mandate as the sole regulator of Nigerian media. Dr. Toba Daba then and Ishak Modibo Kawu now. This edition also features the king of stand-up comedy in Nigeria, Ali Baba. NTA standards to be ready for election transmission after decades of abandonment. Find out from the DG transactional elections in our political space. An evil wind that blows no good. DG, National Orientation Agency Conference. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, x-rays the impact of social media on electioneering process as electorates present their expectations from incoming government. Meet some TV professionals behind the screen and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first. Get it fresh.
Time for sports update with Olumide Gutola.
It was a wonderful time for Nigeria cricket as the country attained a new height, becoming the first team in the whole of Northwest Africa to qualify for the International Cricket Council Under-19 World Cup holding in South Africa in January 2020. Amidst celebration, the victorious junior yellow-green returned to the country from Namibia aboard Ethiopia Airline, ready to regroup and commence in earnest preparation for the World Cup. Head coach of the team said the team will go to the World Cup not as participants, but as a contender for the title.
I'm going to the World Cup. The boys are going to regroup. I want to go there and fly Nigeria's flag.
The performance of Team Nigeria at the recently concluded Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi has brought joy not only to athletes and their parents, but to Nigeria as a nation. The amazing display in the United Arab Emirates, doing the nation proud, informed their return to the country amidst excitement and jubilations at the Muritala Mohammed Airport, Lagos. About 7,000 athletes competed in 24 different individual and team sports at the 2019 Special Olympics World Games.
Parents wake up in the morning, look at the goals of his child, and he feels happy that this kid is not, after all, what I thought he was.
Team Nigeria to the Open International Canoe Sprint Championship in India finished the event on a good note. The team won a gold medal in C1 200 meters and 3 bronze medals in C1 500 meters, C2 500 meters, and C2 200 meters in the female event.
We are also grateful to Nigeria as a whole for backing us up and making this a success.
The team is expected to arrive the country this week. With sports updates, Olumide Gutola, NTA News.
Congratulations to our special team. And that rounds off Nationwide. We thank you for staying with us. I am Ronke Kolawole.